The religion of Buddhism was created to limit human suffering. Siddhartha Gautama, also known as the Buddha, founded Buddhism when he began looking for a cure to the hardships humans face in their lives.
He created many rules to show his followers how to live a happier and more prosperous life. Today, 2,500 years later, millions of people still practice his teachings all over the globe.
Buddhism is an offshoot of Hinduism created by Siddhartha Gautama in India. This religion, though scarcely practiced by Americans, is the fourth largest religion in the world. 6% of the world's population practices Buddhism, primarily in the European and Asian countries.
According to Buddhist theology, Queen Maya, Siddhartha's mother, had a dream the night her son was conceived. She had dreamt that an elephant with 6 tusks and a lotus flower in its trunks touched her right side. When the queen woke up, she told her husband about the dream. He asked Brahmins or learned men to interpret the dream. They said that the couple would have a child that would be either the greatest king in the world or a holy man who practices self-denial.
Legend says that when the Buddha was born, he emerged from Queen Maya's right side and walked 7 steps in the 4 directions of the compass without any help. Where he stepped, lotus flowers sprouted from the earth, and he said then, "No further births have I to endure, for this is my last body. Now shall I destroy and pluck out the roots of sorrow that is caused by birth and death."
As Siddhartha grew up, his father raised him to be the king that the learned men predicted. He surrounded Siddhartha with pleasures and granted his every wish. He kept him in the dark about anything unpleasant or disturbing.
When Siddhartha turned 29, he asked his charioteer, Chana, to take him for a ride without his father's knowledge. While he was out, he saw 3 things that he had never seen before: an old man, a man suffering from illness, and a court surrounded by mourners. He asked Chana what the meaning of these strange sights were, and Chana explained that old age, sickness, and death are natural and unavoidable things that come to all people and must be endured.
When Siddhartha returned home, he thought about what he had seen and said, "Everything is transcendent, nothing is permanent in this world. Knowing that I can find delight in nothing, how can a man, who knows that this death is quite inevitable, still feel greed in his heart, enjoy the world of senses, and not weep in this great danger?"
Later, Siddhartha went out and saw the last of what would be forever known as the 4 sights. This was a wandering holy man with no possessions. He had a shaved head and a walking stick. Siddhartha stopped his chariot and questioned the man. He said, "I am terrified by birth, death, and therefore have adopted a homeless life to win salvation. I search for the most blessed state in which suffering, old age, and death are unknown." Inspired by this man, Siddhartha left his luxurious life and family and took off to the wilderness in pursuit of a solution of suffering.
Siddhartha was about to die from hunger, thirst, and exhaustion, but he then was given a meal by a milkmaid. This refreshed him and gave him the strength to meditate under a fig tree. This meditation gave him the answers he was always looking for. While he was sitting under the fig tree, the evil god Mara sent his 3 sons and 3 daughters to tempt Siddhartha with pleasures to distract him from receiving these answers. Legend says that he was not swayed by them, and he entered a state of deep meditation where he recalled all of his previous births and deaths. At this point, he became the Buddha and experienced nirvana. This means that he passed off his desires and sufferings to become part of the universe instead of a soul in a human body.
The main focus of Buddhism is how to live your life. Buddhists live by certain guidelines and morals. One of the most important parts of their religion is called the Eightfold Path. This is a way to limit human suffering. It helps one not to be too modest or too proud. It helps one live their life in the middle. These laws of Buddhism are stated as right opinions, right intentions, right speech, right conduct, right livelihood, right mindfulness, right concentration, and right effort. These moral guidelines teach you how to live a long and healthy life. Siddhartha Gautama created these laws because he had a life that did indeed include suffering.
People who are learning the basis of Buddhism were also taught 10 precepts or rules. to refrain from taking life, stealing, sexual activity, lying, intoxicating substances, eating after midday, use of perfume and personal adornment, seeing public entertainment, grand beds, accepting gold or silver.
Buddhists also believe in a phenomenon called karma. It is much like the common saying, what comes around goes around. Simply put, karma is the force that decides what you become in your next life. It uses a person's actions, thoughts, and words to determine the body your soul will be reborn into. If a soul has been bad, then it will pay the karma price and be born into a lower form, such as an insect or a beggar, and that soul will continue to pay the karma price throughout their next life.
Not only do Buddhist laws impact the people who follow it, but they also tend to have a big influence on secular law. Many kings who were Buddhists created laws that they wrote on large pillars in the native language Pali. They said achievements and ideals of these kings including tolerance of all religions.
Additionally, Dalai Lama, a spiritual and political leader in Tibet, was a Buddhist. His Buddhist beliefs affected the way he ran and influenced his country. When China invaded Tibet, he fled to the border and contacted the United Nations so they could step in and help. Because of his heroic actions in protecting his country, Dalai Lama received the Nobel Peace Prize. Buddhists were against war. They were very peaceful people and rebelled against war-bringers such as China when they invaded Tibet. Some monks would even drench themselves in gasoline and light it on fire in protest.
To be a Buddhist means to wholeheartedly devote yourself to the religion. Followers of Buddhism practice their religion in every decision they make. For example, each Buddhist must have the right diet, job, trade, profession, meditation, and offerings at shrines, temples, or monasteries. Most importantly, Buddhists must try to complete the Eightfold Path so they can escape the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The Buddhist religion influenced many Asian countries. In some, like Cambodia and Myanmar, the religion and the country's culture is one and the same. One of the most famous holidays in the Buddhist religion is the Feast of Obon. People invite their neighbors and friends over for an all-night feast. By tradition, on the day of the Obon, the souls of the dead come to talk with the living. At dawn, the living place small paper boats containing candles, fruit, and flowers into a nearby river or lake. It is believed that these boats carry away the souls of the dead. This holiday stems from an old Buddhist story that is loved in Japan. A young man named Mokurin dreamt of his mother in Gaki, the hell of starvation. Spirits who were sent there had a huge feast set before them, but when they tried to eat it, it was turned into fire in their mouths. Mokurin asked the Buddha to help stop his mother's suffering. The Buddha advised him to practice purity and kindness. In a few years he had accomplished this, and around this time he had another dream. He dreamt that because of his actions his mother was set free. To celebrate, he set a feast for the villagers in his village. This was the first feast of Obon.
The religion of Buddhism, although widely spread around the world, was based and founded in India. The geographical area where Buddhism began influenced the entire religion due to the culture in the region. The basis of Buddhism today is an offshoot of the original Indian religion, also known as Hinduism. Although the Buddhist religion died off relatively quickly in India, it was able to spread to Sri Lanka, Hawaii, and the Eurasian countries. When the religion spread to these countries, they were influenced greatly culturally and artistically. It also made a great impact on the world in the case of life lessons, personal morals, and how you live your life. Granted, once the rapid spread of the religion triggered, the basis of what it already established was set in stone.
A belief of Buddhists is that nature is the key to everything. Being a Buddhist that only depends on natural resources to survive is not unusual. Nature does not only represent their belief of existence, but represents a healthy life.
Around 200 years after the death of Siddhartha Gautama, Political developments in his homeland caused Buddhist teachings to spread. During this time, a magnanimous king named Asoka converted to the Buddhist religion. His reign enormously benefited the Indian nation, as he built shelters for travelers and banned animal sacrifices. He also stopped allowing cruel and unusual punishments, founded hospitals for both humans and animals, and funded Buddhist monasteries. Because of these qualities, Asoka will always be remembered as the ideal Buddhist ruler and role model for many Asian leaders. Later, when Asoka's son Mahinda came to power, he decided to follow in his father's footsteps and bring the religion to a place we now call Sri Lanka. Monks had also spread Buddhism throughout the southeast, Myanmar to Indonesia, making Buddhism one of the largest religions in this region.
Although there is no set god, there is a social pyramid in Buddhism. The monastery, a Buddhist holy place, is at the top of the list. After that, there are monks and nuns, people who give up their worldly possessions to pursue Buddhism. Under them are the lay Buddhists, who are serious about the religion as a whole, but are not ordained, like monks or nuns. At the bottom of this list are the Buddhist pilgrims, who are the average Buddhist followers.
The law of karma also has a social hierarchy. The Indian society was strictly divided into 4 castes or classes. At the top were Brahmins, the learned men, who were priests and religious teachers. The second class consisted of kings, queens, and other political leaders, and warriors. This is the class that Siddhartha Gautama was born into, as he was a prince. The third and fourth castes was made up of merchants and workers, such as laborers, craftsmen, and farmers. At the very bottom were people who did not fit into any of the 4 castes. These people's situations in life made them impure. In one lifetime, it was impossible to rise in the caste system. By law and tradition, people did not associate with people in different castes. They did not marry, eat together, or have any physical contact. If a person violated these rules, they would be deemed impure and have to undergo rituals of purification. The only way to move up in the caste system was to do good deeds and hope to be reborn in a higher caste.
The symbols in Buddhism relate to their ideals. The most famous one is the Wheel of Existence, which is commonly used for Buddhist teachings. This wheel displays the causes of suffering and exhibits the stages of nirvana, which is where you lose your I self and your soul becomes a part of the universe. Nirvana is not like the Christian heaven, and according to Buddhist followers, it cannot be explained in words. But simply put, Nirvana is the Buddhist explanation of an afterlife.
The place of worship for Buddhists are monasteries, shrines, and temples. The authority in these holy places depend on each follower's devotion to the religion. Monks and nuns are at the top, as they have gone through vigorous training to learn how to meditate and follow the Eightfold Path. Each Buddhist follower has one common goal: to abolish human suffering using rules and guidelines so they can live a long and happy life.
Buddhists believe that just because you die does not mean that you are relieved from suffering. Life is an endless cycle of births, deaths, and rebirths. To escape this endless cycle, you must obtain nirvana. This happens when you have completed the Eightfold Path. One of the most important rituals in this religion is meditation. This skill is vital when trying to achieve nirvana, as this is how the first Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, achieved his status as the Enlightened One. Everyone who follows the Buddhist religion uses meditation as a way of worship and to practice self-denial.
We know for a fact the Buddha really did exist, as his works have survived in a book called Tipitaka. Many other sacred texts, which are mostly written in Pali, can be found, such as pillars constructed by King Ashoka. But the teachings of the Buddha have survived to this day because passionate Buddhist followers have orally spread their love for the religion. Buddhism, the 4th largest religion in the world, is an overall religion that focuses on the way you live your life. There is no vast explanation for life, just morals and laws to follow, known as the Eightfold Path.
There is no one working definition of this religion, as it is too complex and diverse. While most religions work to answer questions, Buddhism seems to be asking more, as they believe that the right questions lead to the right answers. All we really know is what surrounds us, and Buddhism teaches everyone that that is all you need to make you happy. Though there are, of course, beliefs of life after death, it does not change the fact that the best way to get to the next stage of your life is to live in such a way that you deserve to be there.